Having me here. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a Citations partner presentation on navigating DPDPA, compliance, impact and future proofing for banks, which will be presented by Mr. Vaibhav Koul, Managing Director, Technology and Digital, Protiviti. Shri Koul has over 2 decades of experience in cybersecurity and risk consulting. He specializes in helping organizations fortify their cyber resilience, privacy frameworks, and compliance postures across industries such as banking, financial services and insurance, oil and gas, manufacturing, telecommunications, and ITES. Over to you, sir. And maybe complete it in 10 minutes so that we can go as per schedule, sir.
Hello everyone, and great to be here. Thank you IBA for having me here. In today's session, we'll start off with maybe some brief statistics around DPDPA and data protection. We'll start with a quick case study after that, and then we'll get into details of some AI-based use cases that help us navigate data protection within the country. Right? I know that I am in a session which separates the actual citations, so I'll try and keep it quick though. Right? So what you see on the screen are some indicative numbers basis the state of data privacy survey in India that we had done. Right? So some broad numbers that you see is around 60% of the organizations believe that privacy related processes were not up to the mark. There were around 52% of the overall organizations that indicated that they had suffered a privacy breach at least once in the last 5 years. Right? Similar to that, what we had seen was among the larger organizations, at least 39% of them had DPO office, but rest of them were still working with the IT teams, IS teams and legal teams together for managing privacy related setups, right? And only 11% of the organizations had pretty much optimized their privacy programs, right? And with all this being seen, we have also seen statistics that in the last year or so, there has been close to 1,000% increase in phishing, and mainly because of the use of various generative AI tools out there, right? And it's common understanding in terms of the statistics again that cybercrime is likely to cost around $10 trillion annually, and it's more than the combined GDP of UK and France. And by 2028, we are looking at around 13 trillion, right? On the screen, you have some details on what DPDPA related requirements are, but I won't get too much into details on this because everyone has a good awareness on it. And banks being significant data fiduciaries, the intention is that everything which is out there in the book is required to be implemented. It's just that we are waiting for the final nod from the regulators in terms of the rules to come into play. Right? We'll just start off with a quick case study out here, right? So we call it the perfect storm when it comes to an AI attack, right? So this is a simulation of a case wherein it's a digital first bank based out of India with large number of customers, pretty much operating on UPI, IMPS, RTGS, so on and so forth. They have third-party fintech APIs. They're using chatbots. They're using cloud-hosted CBS systems, and obviously they are required to comply with RBI-related guidances. They're required to comply with guidances on CERT and DPDPA, right? Now, in the world where AI has been pretty much commoditized, We look at the complete kill chain when a type of attack happens with respect to exfiltration, right? So we are looking at something wherein reconnaissance happens through AI agents. They're able to grab details from LinkedIn, GitHub, as well as multiple public forums. The attackers are able to send out spoofed emails posing as the CISO, which was collected as part of the initial reconnaissance, set up a Zoom call, use deepfakes for sending out, asking the operational teams to whitelist a particular IP. Going ahead, multilingual GPT-related phishing attacks are done across branches. Multiple emails are sent posing as RBI-related guidances in different languages, and relationship managers open up this particular piece. Now, when you see this being opened up, it posts AI-generated malware, and that is something that triggers the whole piece. So you are able to have lateral movement through password cracking systems, again, Gen AI-based solutions altogether. The attackers are able to use LLMs to target and identify personal information so that it's much easier for them to identify and pick up the information and take it ahead, right? And the idea is, apart from that, the insider-related threats are also leveraged. So you have chatbots. Chatbots are leveraged to identify additional information, additional details about the borrowing patterns, additional information about the customers, right? And last but not the least, covering the tracks. Again, being able to identify within the SIM solutions, being able to identify what all logs need to be taken out, right? And obviously the fallout is reputational loss. The fallout is obviously regulatory penalties, right? It does look like a perfect storm. Good thing is, it's not real in its entirety. But what is important to understand is each of these elements that you see, they have been individual attacks, they have been individual articles and that you can see in the public domain that indicate all these things have already happened, right? So when it comes to the reconnaissance piece, you are able to identify multiple research around it, multiple attacks have already happened around it. The CISO impersonation through the Zoom call. So this is something that had happened already in Hong Kong, where a CFO, a deepfake of a CFO was leveraged, and they were able to use that to go ahead and transfer around $25 million, right? So similar to that, you have hacking kits for simulation of emails. You have PassGAN, a specialized tool for password cracking, so on and so forth, right? So that's the kind of scenarios we can kind of look at in the future. So that's on the side of the perfect storm on the AI side, right? But now let's go to the sunny side. Now using AI, generative AI, as well as the various elements to it, to look at various use cases that CISO and assurance teams are started to work on, right? Now, from a privacy alignment standpoint, obviously there are multiple areas where focus can be done. So you have consent management, you have privacy notices. Using these AI technologies, you are able to leverage and ensure that personalized level of consent setups can be created. You are looking at purpose limitation related details. Those things can be automated. Your ROPA processing activity is one of the most tedious exercises within the overall privacy implementation. So that is also something that you are able to, up to a certain level, automate through various tools, right? Similar to that, when it comes to DPDPA as well as various other regulations, it's not only about privacy related elements, it's also about data protection, right? So there are focused use cases that we have been working on, especially looking at threat detection and SOC automation. Now looking at threat hunting as well as SIM alert triages. So the intention is you are able to leverage various platforms to ensure that instead of using tons of people to manage logs, to analyze logs, you are able to leverage AI to summarize the setups for you. Similar to that, when it comes to malware analysis, similar pieces are being leveraged out here, and same for phishing detection as well, right? Employee and stakeholder enablement, this is another segment which is really picking up in terms of automation, right? So security awareness related chatbots, these have become standard practice. A lot of organizations are already using them. A lot of organizations have started doing the POCs around these, and you are able to customize these chatbots to ensure based on the various departments, based on the functional use, these chatbots can be leveraged, right? Training content can be automated through this. Cyber war games, this is one of the pieces where, again, even from a RBI standpoint, there's a requirement. So simulated scenarios, these can be created, and then you have tools and technologies that are able to take it to the next level to ensure that minimal human involvement is there, but then still you are able to do a good test out there, right? Third-party risk management, another very important area of focus for all the banks. There's a very recent use case that we worked on wherein SOC reports needed to be evaluated on a regular basis. So the bank was having a 10-member team to focus only on review of SOC reports, and this was across the globe that they were doing. So we were able to create a setup for them with a generative AI platform, wherein the requirements from a SOC report standpoint are taken care of, and the outputs are generated within a much shorter period of time, right? So these were some elements on the employee engagement side. Coming to the compliance piece, obviously consent related elements, privacy related risk summarization, these are elements where definitive use cases have been there. One use case which is really picking up in most of the organizations is focused on user attestation related processes. This tends to be a very manual process. Every time the departments have to get the users validated. So in this particular case, they are looking towards using automation for this. Automatically, you are able to send the alerts to the managers. You are able to validate and even suggest the roles depending on the type of requirements and the function that the person is using. Apart from that, asset inventory reviews. So this is one piece. When it comes to audits, we have generally noticed there would always be a point on asset inventory being stale or asset inventory not being updated. So the asset inventory reviewer as a tool is able to help out manage the differences over there. It is able to help out look at AI, look at labeling at the right level, removing the duplicates and taking it ahead, right? Another important use case that we focused on was the regulatory mapping assistant, right? So most of the banks are facing this issue where there are too many regulators looking at similar things, right? You'll have DPDPA, you will have RBI related guidances, you'll have guidances from SEBI as well at times. So, and there's a lot of intersection in between all these, right? So having a unified compliance framework being created, so the tools are able to help us get that done and have that done on a very regular basis. So these are some of the components that we have been working on, right? Another, and then last but not the least, looking at governance and board reporting, right? So one of the key elements that we are looking towards is how the CISO dashboards look like, how the CISO scorecards look like, and how do you go ahead and compile all this information together and be able to provide it at the right levels, right? So these are some of the elements that we are kind of looking on the sunny side of the generative AI setup, where automation related use cases, a lot of banks have already started working on this journey. A lot of them are thinking about it, and some of them have implemented in certain pieces altogether, right? This is what I wanted to just showcase out here, and would like to conclude with this. I'll be happy to take any questions on this as well. And we recently also unveiled a paper focused on DPDPA and data protection. Happy to have that shared in our booth going ahead. And I think I can give 2 minutes back to you. Yeah.